Welcome in. Here comes that length for 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirits. It's in the chat room right now, so you can go and please, it would mean the world to me if you bought some for a friend of yours or just for yourself, and let me know how it is. Maybe one day we'll just have a whiskey tasting party, and we'll all get together and we can comment on it on the show. I'll send some to Pierre, and Pierre, is Thursday your day off?
Yes, it is. During
Okay.
football season, it is, yes.
Okay, good deal. So I'll make sure we get some of this to you, and we can play this game together next time. So
you know that I'm getting married next year, and I was already immediately when you said whiskey tasting, I was like, oh, that would be a good outing for a bachelor party idea. That would be terrific.
Yeah, Pierre, I just went on a guys trip a couple weeks ago, and I got to tell you, the 44-year-old guys trip is awesome. It's amazing. And really, I think you're owed quite the bachelor party, sir. So
I have to be honest, I'm living in a little bit of fear of what is ahead of me, that these yahoos that have been my good friends for over 20 years, what they're planning. I'm living in a little bit of fear of what may be ahead of me next year.
Here's the good news for you, Pierre. They don't have the energy.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, that's true. There's a couple of them. Yeah.
There's going to be one thing that you try to do, and you might do for like half an hour, that is like, let's do this like we did back in the day. Yeah. And then you're going to be like, hey, where's Danny? And you're like, oh, he's already calling an Uber to take us to the sports bar. He really wants to watch that Kings game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then you're going to be like, you know what? So do I. I really do. I mean,
that would be okay with me, to be honest. I'd be okay with it.
You're going to have that moment where you're like, for 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you're lucky, you're going to be like, I'm 22 again. And then somebody, especially, it'll definitely be one of the guys with kids. It will definitely be one of the guys with kids that's like, hey, there's like a really cool brewery like right around the corner. And it's like super quiet in there. And you're gonna be like, oh really? Yeah. And I think they're showing that game that we want to watch. And you're like, oh great, yeah. No, I already went in. Like, Danny's in there getting jalapeno poppers right now. And you're like,
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Tell him to get one app of everything. We'll just share them.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrific idea. Yeah, we can go halvesies. Yeah.
Now, doesn't that sound better than a loud place?
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%. It does.
I like to get my sleep. I do. So, I like to be well rested for days like that.
So what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen is you're going to get to the loud place. You're going to realize like this was never a good idea ever. No. And when you made fun of like your one or two friends that used to be like, yeah, we're just going to chill at the brewery and play trivia. You're like, you know what? They really had it on lock back when we were 22 and we were stupid. We wasted a lot of money and they were getting half price apps all night long.
Truer words never spoken. No doubt.
Half price apps, dollar wells. They were getting that playing trivia. And you were, you're in the club going like, so you're from Detroit. I've never been there.
Yeah. Hey, would you like to come to our table where we bought $1,000 worth of alcohol that's really only valued at $300?
No, I don't want a shot. No, it's I don't know. Okay, fine.
Great. Yeah. I hate Detroit.
Oh, goodness. Those are your friends? Like my friends are over here. They're not creepy.
Right. At all.
Yeah. No. Life's different. All right. So as we talk about the passenger time, let's segue into our topic about Mack Brown. He is going to be 74 next year, which is just, older in general. And it's very old for a college football coach, especially nowadays, where they make so much money.
What did you say? 74?
He's going to be 74 next year, yeah.
Okay.
So he's 73 right now, so 74 in 2025. So 74. And look, I hope that I'm as spry and good at my job at 74 as Mack Brown is now.
Definitely.
But given the last couple of years there, is Mack Brown really the best guy to be leading that program, or should he retire?
That's an excellent question. I struggle with this because I don't like to tell people, especially people who are in the twilight of their years, what to do with their time or what they should be doing. Even though in my mind, I'm thinking when I'm 74, the last thing I want to be doing, Paul, is working. That is the last thing I want to be doing. However, despite what I feel about some people, when they, when they have the opportunity to bow out gracefully in their time, they've had their time, they've gotten a little older in age, even though, like you said, I don't disagree that Mack Brown is still spry, could probably still do the job, just like there are probably some broadcasters out there who are still working at 74, who probably should have bowed out a long time ago and bowed out gracefully to let some of the up-and-comers come up and have their opportunity. But in terms of this context and this question, I think it is time for Mack Brown to walk away, because especially if you're the AD and you're looking at the situation right now, you probably already had a plan in place for when he was going to go, when you thought he was going to go at the end of the year. Now you're stuck with a little bit for another year, and you've seen the results over the last handful of years, which aren't bad. It's not bad by any means, but at the same time, it's an arms race now in the world of college football. So you want to have a plan in place with a guy who can take your program to the next level for not just the next 2 years, but for 5 to hopefully 10 years to come. And that's really hard to identify the right guy for those type of situations. But if I'm North Carolina, we love you, Mack, but I don't love this decision for you to come back.
Yeah, and look, I can't sit here and be hypocritical in that every conversation I've had over the last 18 months about who should be our president starts and ends with, like, why are there 70-year-old men doing this? Like, shouldn't we be kind to our 70-year-old men? However you feel about the 70-year-old man whose corner you were in. This was just about, look, if I'm too young to run the country when I'm 35, or when I'm 34, I have to wait till I'm 35. Then I might be probably in most cases too old to do it when I'm in my 70s. So I like a nice age, like sitting on the Supreme Court. Like, how many old, judges do we have to have? So I'm not going to not apply that same logic to a college football coach. Look, I've been complaining about Jerry Jones all year. And part of the problem is that, he was always, kind of nuts, but now he's in the old and nuts phase. And that one is maybe you shouldn't be running the most valuable sports franchise in the world. Right. Just saying, enjoy your golden years. Don't take big jobs. You've right, especially a guy like Mack Brown. Believe me, he ain't hurting.
No,
God, he's not. No. He's not doing this to keep putting chow on the table. I mean, even in a guy I still look at Nick Saban now, and I think to myself, why did you go into broadcasting? You're 70 years old. Mm-hmm. You're the most decorated college football coach of the last generation. What are you doing still working? Why? I know the game is a part of your life, and it's been a part of your life since you were an adolescent. I fully understand it. But at the same time, too, it's why? What are you doing? Are you hurting for money? You're not. I know that you're not. So what do you gain out of this? Yeah, I know. And I get part of it is it's hard to admit that you have to go and not do anything. My father struggled with being retired.
Yeah.
It took of the 20 years he was retired, 15 of them were Dad, just be retired. You were so successful. Yeah. He's yeah, but I gotta, he was well, I gotta do something. I gotta feel go do whatever you want to do. None of us are sitting here telling you what you should or should not do, as long as you're not gonna. He tried to buy a motorcycle one time, and we had to have a buddy of his from the VA be Pete, you don't need a motorcycle. Yeah. And he had actually had the guy come and bring it out, and my dad got on it and rode it in the driveway before he almost fell off. And we're
yeah.
Some dreams you don't get to have.
Right. Yeah. So, yes. Don't I know it?
Yeah. I'm really glad. I'm not really glad, but I do think if he had been alive when Yellowstone came out, he would have bought a ranch, because he'd be this is what I've always wanted. Yeah. And you're okay, please don't buy a ranch. He wanted to buy one, and I was listen, one day you're gonna not be here, Dad. and I don't want to run a ranch. I don't know anything about running a ranch. Then I'm going to have to sell this ranch, and I hope it's going to be profitable, but I don't know the business. So, like, somebody's going to be like, hey, give me all these cows. And I'll be like, how much is a cow? And they'll be like,
right.
$6 per cow. I'm like, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah.
So, like I said, at the risk of sounding hypocritical myself, there's a reason why the joke goes, you know what the number one killer of all old people is, right? Retirement.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why there's a joke out there, because when you lose motivation and you lose steam, then you kind of, I think, not to sound morbid about it, but I think you kind of think to yourself, well, I guess I'll just die now. I guess it's like more acceptable to I guess this is it. I got nothing else to do. So I don't want to keep people from doing things like that, whether it's coach college football or buy a motorcycle for some reason, join a motorcycle gang at 70 or 75. Why not? But there's context to everything. Yeah. And there's businesses that are bigger than you, even no matter how decorated you are. And I hate to say it, the world moves on. The institutions move on without you. At some point, they will move on without you. And they have to think of the long-term plan for their institutions.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. Let me read who said it. I think it was Clint Moses who said, less talking, more drinking. So without further ado, after this break, Pierre is going to read.
I've got some.
Yes, he's going to read some sports facts about my favorite teams to me. And then we're going to see how long before I pop the top off this bottle and pour it into my Key Rock cup, thanks to retired stockbroker. And we'll see. Jack is also going to help me sample the whiskey.
Yeah, I'm going to get some before the segment starts.
Well, I wanted to have the dramatic open and pour. Well, we'll do it. We'll do it your way. You're producing. You're doing a great job. You've earned a reward. So when we come back,